Thumbs up. Next. Next again. There were two classes of people in the Roman Republic, and they were not equal. Number one were the plebeians. These are poor citizens made up of the majority of Roman citizens. Males farmed someone else's land. They paid taxes and fought in the army, but they could not participate in government. They were citizens, but they were not important enough to participate in government. Then you have the patricians. These are the rich citizens. Next. These are rich and powerful males with property. If we think back to Aristotle, and Aristotle talked about good government and bad government. Remember, he said good government was one, democracy, and two, aristocracy. Aristocracy is when the rich and powerful rule. And this is very similar to what the Romans end up doing, even though this is hundreds of years after Aristotle was alive. Next. 2 steps to a more democratic government in ancient Rome. Next again. Number 1, the tribunes. Who are the tribunes? They were elected to protect the rights of the plebeians, since these poor Romans had no say in government participation. So we start off our government only being ruled by the patricians. What's the number one thing people want to do when they have power? Raise your hand if you know. The number one thing people in power want to make sure they keep, what? Power, right? They want to make sure that they keep power. And oftentimes, the rich would pass laws that favored them but hurt the poor. And so eventually, the Romans will have something called a tribune. And a tribune is elected to protect the rights of the poor. That's a good thing. Next. Again, Roman laws. The first written Roman laws were called the 12 Tables. Next again. This is so everyone could see these laws. They were placed in the forum, which is the public square, like the Greeks' agora. So that's a big deal. Why is it a big deal to have your laws written down? Raise your hand if you know. So everybody knows them, right? So everybody knows the laws. You can't say, hey, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Next. They applied to both patricians and the plebeians. So that's good. Now, do you think the punishments were the same? Probably not. Next. There's the Roman Forum. Like I said, my brother's been there many times. I am too afraid to fly. So everybody at home, pray for me. Maybe one day I will get over that fear and I will go see Rome. Next. So parts of the Roman Republic. You're going to have 2 consuls. They have the power to veto each other. Then you're going to have the Senate with 300 senators. They handled daily government problems. They advised the consuls. They proposed laws, and they were chosen for life. Then you're going to have judges who oversee the laws, assemblies. These were the all Roman citizens. They declared war and made peace treaties. And then you're going to have the tribunes, which are government officials who protect the rights of the plebeians. If we look at the Roman government, you start to see our government a little bit. You know, up here is basically kind of going to be the executive branch, which is what our executive branch is. Then you're going to have the judicial branch, and then kind of here and here, you're going to have the legislative branch. This is probably in there too. So you start to see the semblance of our form of government. Our form of government is the best form of government that's ever been invented. Don't anybody ever let you tell you that America's not great. It is. It's great because our government puts the power in the hands of the people. You know, unfortunately, we have a lot of corruption in our government tries to steal that power. But it's modeled a lot off of this. Who's still right? Okay. Stand up if you're still right. Okay? So what I want you to answer now is I want you to answer which part of this government do you think is the most important? Is it the power of one or two people to veto any laws that they didn't think was good? Is it the power of the 300 senators who could propose laws? Is it the power of someone that protects the people? Or is it the judges who oversee the laws? What do you think is the most important form of the Roman government? And ask yourself this. Are most people in America plebeians or patricians? Ask yourself that. Hey, and as we say in my class, go forth and learn, because knowledge is power.